Hello and welcome to What the Flick. We're coming to you from the future. It's 30 years from now. We're in Kansas, 2044.
A future where we found Ben.
Ben is here and he's seen a movie. But not this one.
Right, but not this. So,
Even farther in the
Fine.
future,
See you later.
we've seen a movie.
Come zap back and we'll kill you. We're going to talk about Looper right now. Matt Atchity is going, oh, we should say who we are. I'm Christy. This is Alonso. That's Matt. That's Ben over there. Hi, Ben. These are my pips today. You like my pips?
Pips?
Yeah, like I'm Gladys Knight. You're my
No,
pips.
you're our
Like
supreme.
Mispronunciation of peeps.
Is it peeps?
No.
Are they
No,
peeps?
it's
That's how rumors get started. Please explain what Looper's about if you can.
I can.
Okay.
Terminator meets Witness meets Akira.
sounds
That's all
good.
you
for
need to
watching.
know, right? No, actually, so Looper is a story about a guy who's a hitman who sits out in a field and shoots people who get sent to him from the future. And then he disposes of the bodies because, as they explain it, it's very difficult to get away with murder in the future, so they send bodies to the past because time travel had been created and then immediately outlawed, and so only the mob controls it. And so he plays his character Joe, who at some point in the movie gets sent his older self, played by Bruce Willis, playing the same character. Let's watch the trailer.
You're a looper.
You know what we do? And the only rule is never let your target escape, even if your target is you.
Okay, so have we all seen Brick?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I did see Brothers Bloom, though.
Brick is really good. I like Brick better in retrospect, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt was really, really great in Brick, and you can see why Rian Johnson would want to write another movie for him. And this definitely plays on the darker side of him, and he still has that puppy, doggish, boyish likability, but he's a junkie and a criminal
And
and
he's
a killer.
dangerous in this movie,
Yeah.
and you kind of buy it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as much as he's also basically doing Bruce Willis the whole movie.
Which I didn't realize until like halfway through. I'm like,
No,
why does he have blue contacts and his nose looks different?
I mean, he's, they've kind of given him a bit of a prosthetic nose.
Okay. You didn't notice the crazy face until midway through
I
the
noticed
movie?
he looked
constant,
different.
like,
He
the
looks
smirk.
furrowing his brow.
He looks like the love child of Kirk Cameron and Robert Forster, and it's distracting as hell. That's it. The whole movie, all I could think of was like, what's going on with his face? What have they done to his face?
It was distracting at first,
and-
but when you
Kirk
realize
Cameron
it's doing
doesn't
Bruce
swing that way,
Willis,
by the way.
No,
but when you realize it's Bruce Willis, it's like, aha, he's got the cadence down. It's not a full-on parody.
The performance-wise, yes, but here's the thing: I didn't get why Rian Johnson didn't just let us believe that Joseph Gordon-Levitt, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's face, would eventually become Bruce Willis. The prosthetics distracted me nonstop. Like I never had, you'll watch a movie and you'll think, oh wow, it's Nicole Kidman and a fake nose, but then eventually you cross that invisible line and you're like, okay, it's Virginia Woolf. Like you don't think about it anymore. I was always thinking about it.
No, I think he is good enough, and they are so good together. That one scene in the diner where they spell out to each other over these plates of steak and eggs what they want from each other and how they're cross purposes. Like right there, it's so electric and so funny that I was like, okay, the two of them in the same place, this makes sense to me, and I'm okay with the nose and the color contacts and the smirk, which do not belong to him.
I mostly really like this movie, especially while I was in it, because it gets, the trailer makes it come off like this chase movie. Like what immediately happens is that Bruce Willis gets sent back in the past, and then you get 2 hours of them chasing each other, trying to figure out what's going on. That's not what this movie is at all. This movie actually completely takes a left turn, and I think that's, you get something you're not expecting, and I liked it because it's really smart. You get, this story that, that things kind of break up, and there's some weird time travel causality questions, and then there's this other search that's happening similar to kind of what you see in Terminator, and I liked that. I liked that a lot. But then there's a bit with the fundamental premise that, as I was driving home, really bothered me.
Okay, do you want to say it? Can we say it without spoiling anything?
Yeah, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
we know that the premise is that people get sent back in time for mob hits, right? And the way they're set up is that, you see other characters sitting in specific spots waiting for someone to appear, and then they just pull the trigger. So clearly the people in the future can pinpoint wherever they want to send someone, right? And in the setup, in the movie, he says time travel's been outlawed. Also, it's really hard to get away with murder in the future. Too much tagging, too much, it's too hard to dispose of a body, blah, 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 whatever. So that's why people get sent back. My issue is, why bother with people? Just put them in an active volcano.
Maybe there are no volcanoes in the future.
No, but there are in the past.
I see.
He's saying instead of
Why
setting
bother
him for the
having somebody
cornfield.
shoot it?
Right.
Yeah, why bother having somebody shoot it?
Why bother paying anybody?
Well, here's
And
my
that's-
question.
And so
Okay,
as I was
so-
driving home, I was like, hey, wait a minute. But apart from that, I really like the movie.
My question was this, and maybe it was explained, and just the mythology of it is so dense that I spaced it. Okay, so why does the badass warlord, the Rainmaker, close all the loops? Why does he send the future versions of all the loopers back, like bam, 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 one after another? What is the purpose in that? I don't know that I remember what that's about. I mean, it's a plot-driving device, but is it that he...
I guess that's how he takes control of the mob or whatever, by disposing of his enemies, by sending them to the past.
Or that it's a quote unquote bad thing, and what the Rainmaker is really doing is as they set up is that he's trying to stop bad things from happening. Like he's taking control of the mobs by killing everybody. That's
Getting
a
rid of
bad
the
guy.
bad
Like he's
people.
getting rid of the bad people.
And loopers
and
are bad
the loopers
people.
are bad people.
Right, okay.
Okay, my thing with this movie is that I loved the setup. I
I
love
love
the
we're doing half
premise.
the show as a spoiler.
Yeah, I know, I'm not gonna spoil anything. I love the premise, the way they establish. Okay, these are the rules. This is what happens. This is what this world is. And I was in on it, even though I was constantly distracted by Joseph Gordon-Levitt's crazy makeup face or CG face or whatever they're doing to him to make him look like Bruce Willis. And it's not like we don't know what Bruce Willis looked like 30 years ago.
There are
He was on
prosthetics.
Moonlighting. We know what he looked like.
He had hair.
Yeah, exactly. Have Joseph Gordon-Levitt and hold a Seagram's wine cooler, and you're good. My problem is that after the whole cool setup, the whole interesting first act, it then just gets the pacing completely deflates.
I like that
This
about
movie
it.
is more than 2 hours long and does not need
No,
to be.
it's two. It's not more
It's
than
2:07.
No. It's
Yes,
like 1:19
no, it's
or
two-
something
it's
like that.
2:07.
It's really not.
It's-
You know the director's cut of Looper?
That's what they showed me at the lot. Anyway,
We saw it at the lot. I saw it with the hoi polloi at the Grove.
Oh, don't even start with the. You get invited to everything I don't, so I don't want to hear about it from
I
you,
don't.
Missy.
I don't.
Anyway, for me, this movie just started so strong and then just. And I got completely bored in the middle of it. The only thing that's almost as hard to buy as Joseph Gordon-Levitt with the crazy face stuff is Emily Blunt as a farm woman.
Right, her accent
Yeah,
it
no,
does vacillate there a bit.
no.
Yes, it does.
No, Emily Blunt, not on a farm.
I don't know.
I don't buy
She's
it for a
chopping
second.
logs. It's very persuasive. Here,
She might as well churn butter. I mean, it didn't play for me at all.
right, she's working on a lathe. The only machine that makes itself, the lathe.
Weaving.
So I'm okay with that because it slows down, it gets quieter and softer, and it allows us to really, really get to know these characters and care about the decisions that they have to make and care about the fates
And
that
it goes,
they
it goes some interesting places.
It does.
Like it goes some places that I think a lot of other people would be afraid to go. Like the people that get off to this movie are like,
Right.
oh, holy shit, they
Ooh.
went there?
That's
went
true.
there,
No, they
right.
do that. I give it points for that. And if it had gone in interesting places, I'd be fine with it going from loud, crazy to quiet and contemplative and character-based. But the contemplative, character-based stuff just wasn't interesting. And so for me, the movie just sort of, it goes from being really exciting just lying there.
No, I cared about them. The little boy is great. The little boy who
Yeah.
plays Emily Blunt's son. He was only like 5 years old. Pierce Gagnon, I want to say is how you say his name.
He makes an excellent angry face.
No, he's really scary, but he's got like this like self-possession beyond his years. He's very, very good.
I mean, I know I need to see Brick, but for me, this movie had a lot of the same problems of Brothers Bloom in that it looked great, very stylish, cool premise, and then it just, at some point, you feel like, does anybody care about the story? Like to me, it feels
I
like
totally did.
I
totally
cared
did.
more.
I'm in terms. I mean, the filmmaker. I feel like
see,
I feel like the wheels come off, and it's just sort of like, well, it sure is stylish and it looks good, but I don't care.
No, the wheels just slow down. The wheels remain on the vehicle.
I'm
But
super in the
wheels of
minority
bus
on this
do
one.
still go around.
And the wipers go swish, swish, swish.
Based on the tomato score, I know I'm super in the minority. So
Yes.
you know,
Let's talk-
ignore
yeah.
me.
Here's real quick what the
Yeah.
producers don't want from this, because when you guys started talking about it right at the beginning, I was like, oh, I can't believe I missed this. This sounds fantastic. And then you started to get into the weeds and explaining it and understanding what the loopers do and the Rainmaker, and I was like, oh, now I got no interest.
No, the mythology
should
is
still
very
see it.
dense.
No, then by the end, the mere fact of the argument, I'm
Yeah, you're
my
back in?
interest is back
Okay.
is peaked once again.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really like the
Who cares
idea.
what the producers want anyway?
No, I like the idea though of Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis playing the same character. They play off each other very, very nicely. There's inherent tension and a lot of dark comedy between them. So I liked it. There's a lot of hype for this movie, in case you did not know. I think it meets the hype. You do not. Let's do numbers, please. Matt Atchity.
I would give it a higher score, but I'm only going to give it a 7 because I don't like any movie where I'm driving home and I say, "Hey, wait a minute."
What about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and then there's the inevitable time travel paradox of, wait, okay, how can that be there if the thing got changed and they're no longer at the
Yeah.
thing?
And that's
whatever.
the fun of a time travel movie is you go talk about it with your friends afterward and try and dissect whether it makes it. They
we
make
don't
fun
have
of that. They make fun of that in Looper where Bruce Willis is like, we have to talk about whether time
He's
travel
like, I don't want to get into all that
and we
time
get all
travel
these
shit.
we get all these straws we can line up and diagram things. So even they recognize the inherent absurdity of trying to dissect.
I give it a 6.1. I didn't despise this movie, but I was disappointed because it starts so strong and then it just.
I give it an 8, so our average is a 7. It is way higher than that in
It's
Tomatoland.
91% on the tomato meter.
And 92 my
92.
last check. People like this movie, so go see it and come back and tell us what you think. Bye.